Hi, everyone. It is July 26th at noon. Um, and I'm coming to you because I've had a rough night. It's been a rough 24 hours. And my inclination is to go take a nap and get under my covers and ignore and just act like an ostrich. But I'd like to be more productive and positive and also transparent with you about my day-to-day struggles. So I had a situation. Let rewind. Let me start with my labels. Okay, so I have major depressive disorder, anxiety, PTSD, and borderline personality disorder. But I want to kind of walk you through what that looks like when I have an episode. And I hate this language because at the end of the day, I am who I am. And these are just ways to kind of explain some of the challenges. And I had a conflict with my husband, who is one of the most important people in my life next to my children. And the perception or what was said to me was stop using your diagnosis as an excuse and or an explanation for your bad behavior. And that was so frustrating because I can't help it. So today I'm going to kind of break through the stigmas of BPD and how it looks in my life and how I was very resistant to it. When my doctor first said I had borderline personality disorder, I was like, absolutely not. And basically, if you have that gray book, which I think is blue now, if you're in psychology or whatever, DSM maybe, something like that. If you experience 5 of the 9 symptoms on a consistent basis, then you can present like borderline personality. You may show signs of borderline. So we're going to go through all 9 and I'll just talk to you about it. So I'm going to click over there. So I'm not going to see myself, but I know you're with me. Okay, so the first one is a fear of abandonment. And it says people with BPD are often terrified of being abandoned or left alone. Even something as innocuous as a loved one getting home late from work or going away for the weekend can trigger intense fear. This leads to a frantic effort to keep the other person close. You may beg, cling, start fights, jealousy track your loved one's movements, or even physically block the other person from leaving. Unfortunately, this behavior tends to have the opposite effect, driving others away. So, yeah, this is spot on. And I never actually thought I was afraid of being abandoned. And like 6 therapists ago, she once said that she thought a lot of my issues started when my biological father left at 6 weeks old. And I definitely was like, absolutely not, because I had a wonderful dad who adopted me when I was 5. And I just couldn't connect. I didn't believe I had abandonment issues. But looking back, I absolutely do. And those responses I have had. I remember having a conflict with my husband early in our marriage, and he was like, I need space. And what did I do? I blocked the door. I refused for him to go. And then, of course, that escalated. And when he's shoving me to the side, I'm like, oh, my God, he's physically abusing me. And all of a sudden, the story changes. And I'm not taking away from the unhealthy things that my partner may have done. But I'm not assuming entire accountability, but I also have to know my role. So before you chime in and be like, oh, that sounds like a battered woman talking, again, I am a collection of all of my trauma. And because of the traumas I've had prior to my marriage, I've kind of ironed in some bad habits. So yes, the fear of abandonment also leads me to people please. I am inclined to anticipate your needs first, be very generous, maybe overly generous when I don't have. So yeah, that's the first one. So check, I got one. Unstable relationships. People with BPD tend to have relationships that are intense and short-lived. You may fall in love quickly, believing each new person is the one person who will make you feel whole, only to be quickly disappointed. Your relationships either seem perfect or horrible, with nothing in between. Your lovers, friends, or family members may feel like they have emotional whiplash from your rapid swings between idealization and devaluation, anger, and hate. Yeah, I have lots of unstable relationships, and I never thought I did. I used to think I'm so good with people. People love me. I have friends everywhere. But the depth of those friendships aren't what I thought they were. And some of the nuances and dynamics are unhealthy. I do go from one extreme to the other. I can love someone and then you hurt me and I'm like, done. And it's very hard for people who are the most close to me, like my husband, because I could be like, I love you. And then I'm like, I hate you. Stay away from me. And he has to deal with that along with everything else. So unstable relationships. Number 2, check. Unclear or unstable self-image. When you have BPD, your sense of self is typically unstable. Sometimes you may feel good about yourself, but other times you hate yourself or even view yourself as evil. You probably don't have a clear idea of who you are or what you want in life. As a result, you may frequently change jobs, friends, lovers, religion, values, goals, and even sexual identity. I have a very unclear self-image, and I walk around, and if anyone who I've worked with or when I'm in my element, I'm like, I'm a rock star. I'm amazing. I'm fucking bomb and all this stuff. And inside I feel not that. And it's kind of like the threads of the outfit start to unravel. And at first I'm like this beautiful thing, and then I'm just pieces on the floor. So yeah, definitely an unclear and unstable self-image. I'm 37. I've been working since I was 14. I have never had a job longer than my last one, which was 3 years, but before that, longer than a year and a half. And I do change. I've changed cities. I've changed jobs. I've changed things because they don't feel good anymore. So there, number 3, check. 2 more and I've got this thing. And there's like another, 6 more left. Number 4, impulsive, self-destructive behaviors. If you have BPD, you may engage in harmful sensation-seeking behaviors, especially when you're upset. You may impulsively spend money you can't afford, binge eat, drive recklessly, shoplift, engage in risky sex, overdo it with drugs or alcohol. These risky behaviors may help you feel better in the moment, but they hurt you and those around you over the long term. Yeah, my 20s were a bunch of destructive behaviors. I was all over the place. My poor parents just try to keep up. And it's absolutely right. Sensation-seeking behaviors in times that I don't feel anything, having impulsive sex, doing certain drugs, is how I coped. So that's number 4. Number 5, self-harm. Suicidal behavior and deliberate self-harm is common in people with BPD. Suicidal behavior includes thinking about suicide, making suicidal gestures or threats, or actually carrying out a suicide attempt. Self-harm includes all other attempts to hurt yourself without suicidal intent. Common forms of self-harm include cutting and burning. Interestingly, I would never have said I had these tendencies. I was like, no, I don't do self-harm. I mean, unless you counted the destructive behavior, but I was not suicidal. I have too much Christian guilt to think suicide's even an option. But what I have realized is that I do have ideas of suicide. I do have thoughts of the world being better off without me. The people in my life who struggle with how challenging a person I can be. I just think they'll be better off. They'd miss me, but they wouldn't have to be burdened by me either. And I know those thoughts aren't good. And actually, there's like 8% of BPD people and their lives. As far as self-harm, I'm not a cutter. And I've mentioned this in one of the videos that I just started realizing this. I'm a picker, and I never thought about that, but I have certain marks on my body of things that I've picked, particularly my breasts, and I just pick at it. And I never thought I thought it was just like a thing, like a weird thing I do. But I think it is a way to feel, and it is soothing, believe it or not. And it's something now that I have shame, because at a less healthier time, my husband didn't understand and was kind of like, stop doing that. So I would do it in secret. We're at number 6, and I'm already over this video. Extreme emotional swings. Unstable emotions and moods are common with BPD. One moment you may feel happy and the next despondent. Little things that other people brush off can send you into an emotional tailspin. These mood swings are intense, but they tend to pass fairly quickly, unlike the emotional swings of depression or bipolar disorder, usually lasting just a few minutes or hours. Yeah, I'm an emotional roller coaster. If you ride with me, you know. I have been in conversations where I am crying, and then the next second I'm like, business as usual, and people may assume that I'm fake, and it's not. I genuinely feel both of those things. But it's exhausting for me. And my dad recently, yesterday, told me that it's just exhausting sometimes, and that they hurt with me, and I make them tired. Number 7, chronic feelings of emptiness. People with BPD often talk about feeling empty, as if there's a hole or a void inside them. At the extreme, you may feel as if you're nothing or nobody. This feeling is uncomfortable, so you may try to fill the hole with things like drugs, food, or sex, but nothing feels truly satisfying. Yep, I don't want to say much about that. Drugs, food, sex. Yes, yes, yes. And I don't know why I feel empty. I don't know why I used to feel so guilty about being a mom, because all of these mothers claim to be so filled by their children, and I wasn't. I'm just empty. And I think that's why when I do feel something, it's hard. Even making love to my husband, it's hard, so I can feel it, so it has an impact, and that it'll stay. Number 8, explosive anger. If you have BPD, you may struggle with intense anger and a short temper. You may also have trouble controlling yourself once the fuse is lit, yelling, throwing things, or be completely consumed by rage. It's important to note that this anger isn't always directed outwards. You may spend a lot of time being angry at yourself. Absolutely. My mother last week was like, I just feel like you're angry all the time. And I told her, I was like, I couldn't even tell you what I'm angry about. I mean, is the world crappy? Yeah, you know, but it ain't any, well, it might be a little more crappy than it was like 10 years ago, but it doesn't matter. I carry a big, heavy ball of anger, and it's right here. I can feel it right now. And it comes out, and it hits people that I love. And I'm angry at myself that I can't fix it, that there isn't a surefire way to fix it. My whole life, I've been like, what's the problem? I will fix it. And I've fixed a lot of problems for a lot of people, and I can't fix this one. The last one, feeling suspicious or out of touch with reality. People with BPD often struggle with paranoia or suspicious thoughts about others' motives. When under stress, you may even lose touch with reality, an experience known as disassociation. You may feel foggy, spaced out, or if you're outside of your own body. This is a weird thing that totally happens. And I don't usually realize in the moment. It's not, for me, it's not like I can see myself and I'm like floating above, which I've heard some other people say. For me, it's once it's over And I'm like, did that happen? And when I rethink it, it's like, it's not me. I'm looking at a telenovela. And then again, it's more shame. Like, oh God, what just happened? And I'd rather just then stay away and not potentially wreck my life and my relationships. And I am paranoid. I'm very distrusting. What happened yesterday, what set me off was silence. My husband refrained. He said, never mind. And I was like, well, what is under that? And if you don't tell me, I will go to the worst, and I will act on the worst, and I will protect myself from the worst, and I will fight you because of the worst. Whether it's real or not, lose touch with reality. So BPD is an interesting diagnosis, and a lot of therapists don't even really like to mess with it because it's very fluid and complicated. And I guess people with BPD aren't very easy to give therapy to. But I also know that people with BPD it's hard to love me. And it's hard for me to love myself. So why do I divulge all of this personal thing on this website about my clothing line? Because every day, multiple times a day, I am reminded by the way my brain works, that I'm not good enough. And that people are better off without me. And I know it's not true. I don't feel that it's not true, but I know it's not true. And I need to be reminded. And in the moments that I can't call someone or get the encouragement, I need to be able to look down and grab my clothes, put on, dress my armor, whatever it is, to feel empowered and to fight my own stigmas against myself. And instead of constantly berating myself with all the bad things that I am, looking down and looking at myself through a mirror and reminding myself of all the great things. And that's what Traumattire is about. Traumattire is about not hiding from our trauma, but realizing that we're resilient, we are powerful, we are warriors, we are patient, we have been patient with this crappy life. We are so strong. And those are the 9 things I want to be the factors of borderline personality disorder. People who are so strong. So today is a hard day. And I thank you guys. I thank this community on Traumattire, and you're a different community than the one on my personal page. Because you're truly invested in what it's about, as opposed to just being nosy about how fucked up my life is right now. But I just wanted to come and to kind of explain a portion of my life and explain what motivates me on a good day to put such really important things into these clothes. I know I need them, and I think there are people out there who need them. So I'm tired now. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Next Tuesday, August 1st, Vegas video vlog every day in August. That's 31 days of Traumattire moving to the West Coast. So look out for that. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.